Hi, and welcome to another edition of Danny Brown Talks Phoenix. I am your host, Danny Brown, and today I am joined by Clinton Carroll of Opendoor. Opendoor is a new concept that maybe some of you have heard of, others of you who haven't, and they specialize in what are called iBuyers. So welcome to the show, Clinton. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
So first, why don't you tell us, in your own words, what Opendoor is and what the iBuyer programs kind of look like?
Sure, you bet. So an iBuyer is our classification of real estate. Didn't exist probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's a relatively new idea.
Definitely. So we're the first to the space. Happen to be the largest. Like, have kept the momentum going. But really what we do is we're kind of the Uber to the taxi cab. So us being the Uber, taxi cab, maybe being a traditional listing.
Mm-hmm.
They both get you to the destination. It's just how did they get you there?
Sure.
So our mission is to empower people to move freely. That's what our whole company does. And we do that by making the process really less of a process and more of a on-demand. So I go online, I go to opendoor.com, submit some details about my home. Takes me about 10 minutes. And then within 24 to 48 hours, I get a cash offer on my home. I have 5 days to think about that cash offer because the market does change.
Mm-hmm.
And if I like the offer, of course, I'm signing everything electronically. It's still a very familiar process, though. There still will be an assessment. And, that's just going to be verifying the items that were put into that form on opendoor.com.
And there's a full inspection done still.
Correct.
Well?
Correct.
Yep.
Yes. All of this is zero cost to the customer. So there's never a penny that comes out of the customer's pocket through any part of the process ever. Even if
front cost.
Correct.
Okay.
No processing, the assessment. Correct. No actual cost as far as the process goes. Also, too, we don't put feet to the fire. If it's not working out, we have a conversation. We part ways. No penalty, no termination fee. We'll have a conversation, but it'll just be to find out what happened and maybe circumstance changed and things you can't really do very easily in a traditional transaction. So again, it's all about that freedom.
Sure.
And then along with that too, with the convenience, you don't have anybody coming through your home in it like a traditional listing.
So your mission is really to kind of simplify the real estate transaction. And so I'm a home seller. I'm thinking about selling my property, and I can go to opendoor.com. I can basically plug in my address, answer some basic questions, upload photos if I want to,
Mm-hmm.
and then you guys will send us an offer. So I know there's a lot of copycats have kind of entered the market as well. But I would also argue, you say you're kind of the first to market, but I would argue that the idea of this has been around for a long time.
Sure.
Opendoor has a really cool technology platform and a really good marketing budget, but companies like WeBuyUglyHouses.com, wholesalers have all been kind of doing relatively the same thing that Opendoor is attempting to do, but on a grander scale. Would
Exactly.
you kind of agree?
Definitely. And again, a great example back to Uber, even Amazon. I mean, how long's Walmart been selling in various locations, and then who came and set up the platform correctly,
Sure,
conveniently, listened to the customers, and just made a platform off of service basically. And that's what our solution does. But yeah, We Buy Ugly Houses, been around for many, many years.
Sure.
In this valley. So yeah, we're just kind of the sleeker, more scalable. We are, and not all of our competitors are this by any means, but we are a tech company first. We're based out of San Francisco. The cool thing is that our founder and CEO is from Glendale, Arizona.
okay.
So we know the Phoenix market.
Sure.
Anybody who's generating an offer for a home in the Phoenix market lives in Phoenix. So it's real powerful to say that our talent lives where our talent prices and gives offers. But yeah, it has existed, and you still have, more copycats, that have even sprung up after it, and you see the billboards and the flash in the pan here and there and everything like that. And it's just like when anything, whoever builds the better mousetrap and finds the capital to build a lot of mousetraps, usually going to win, especially if the service is there, and it just has to be a great experience. And that's what we are just dead set on, is that experience.
It's a really exciting, from my position, albeit scary, but also a really exciting time to be in real estate, because there are so many innovators and people coming to kind of disrupt the real estate market. It's been a super complicated, tedious transaction for a really long time. I've always found it very interesting that, the standard commission is 6%. It seems to be 6% whether you're selling in Phoenix or whether you're in California or and I've never seen really an industry where it's kind of just a blanket fee for a transaction, regardless of the market that you're in. So if you're in this, crazy seller's market where you do everything right and you list it and then you get multiple offers in the first weekend, did you really earn that full 6%? So I do think that the market is poised for a disruption, and it needs to happen. So, I'm appreciative of companies like Opendoor and all these other people coming to market, because I think it's either forcing people who are terrible at real estate to get out because they're being outsourced by these companies, and people who truly want to make it a career to elevate their game so that they're providing a super, super high level of service to differentiate themselves from some
Well,
of
and
the
then there's the
companies.
integration too. You utilize our platform for,
Absolutely.
there's going to be certain clients of yours, and we're just another option.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
really what we are. We're not going to fit everybody. We gain traction because the aunt tells the cousin, or family talks to family, and word of mouth will always be the best advertising
Absolutely.
method. So you look at us and you go online and you say, let's just look at this company, let's just see how many stars they rack up. And you look at Google, and 4.2 out of 5, not too shabby for still operating in startup mode for the last 4.5 years. So yeah, we understand that efficient processes, technology, all of these things that are not taking over, but are assisting and making our lives better, in shopping, in transportation, all of this stuff. It's just a matter of time before it touched real estate.
Absolutely.
And now it's touching real estate. So here we are.
Here we are. So then, does Opendoor operate in all 50 states? I know that you're a big player in the Phoenix market.
Sure. So yeah, boy, that would be something if we could have pulled that off already. We roll out. The answer is no. We roll out a new market. Currently, we're growing at about every 3 to 4 weeks. We open a new market and start purchasing in that market. So to give you an example relative to Phoenix, I was just in the Riverside market a few days ago, over there launching one of our partner builders, and Sacramento. We are in Las Vegas. We will be in San Diego and Los Angeles in the future. That's a future market, should I say. Tucson, we're opening next month, which we're real excited about that. I'm very excited about that.
Close to home.
Close to home, you betcha. But outside of that, Texas, multiple areas in Texas, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, multiple in Florida. We've got Charlotte.
You're growing. You're not in all 50 states, but you're growing, and that probably is the end goal, is to be basically in all markets possible.
Wherever it makes sense.
Sure.
Wherever we're a company really dictated on risk. Everything that we do, when we say that we're going to open up the checkbook and write a $300,000 check after you went online for 10 minutes, there's risk. So as you could imagine,
Sure.
cash offers put you at a risk. So yeah, depending on where those markets are at, and we'll price them all differently. We'll have a different fee in different markets or a different range. But it is all based off of that risk. So would we ever be in San Francisco? Probably not, or a very long time from now, even though that's where our headquarters is at. That is some of the highest priced real estate in the nation. And so that presents high risk because that, there's so many things in flux or can be in flux
Sure.
over there. As soon as there's a turning of the economy, the home that we're in it for 1.5, just took a drop to 1.1 because there was a headline that came out that Google laid off 3,000 people.
Yeah.
So
Plus, you could
big exposure.
One in San Francisco at 1.5 is 5 houses in Phoenix?
Right, exactly.
So
yeah,
you tie up more of your capital by going after those higher end homes.
definitely.
So tell me a little bit about the fee structure, particular to Phoenix. So somebody wants to sell their house, they do the evaluation. Let's start first with, is it like a Zestimate? How is Opendoor valuing someone's home? Is it actually a person that's doing it, or is it an algorithm?
Sometimes a person, sometimes not. Depending on the market, we'll see a different ratio of automated offers versus human offers.
Mm-hmm.
We do use AI. So as we continue to do offers, we'll always do look backs. We'll see how far off we were, or if we were right on, or in anything in the range. So we're always learning from our data, and that just ensures that we give better offers usually in the future. So right now in Phoenix, I believe that, I'm not sure what percentage. It's a lower percentage, but in Phoenix, if you get an offer in 15, 20 minutes, it was probably automated, which means that we had enough confidence for our system to go ahead and do that offer. Otherwise,
probably if you're in like a tract home subdivision and your home is, 1,600 square feet, and it's one of 7 models, and there's 10 sales in the last 6 months of your exact same model.
Low risk.
It's low risk.
Low risk.
A computer algorithm can pretty much zero in on the value.
Definitely. But still, most of them in the Phoenix market are done by humans.
Okay.
So we just have a whole team. Some of them have appraisal backgrounds. I think most, if not all of them, do. But they'll go in there, but it is specific to it's not a free for all. I mean, there's all kinds of levers to pull in our little proprietary system.
Sure.
But it brings in all the public information. It brings in the last MLS pictures, so we can automatically just see the photos as soon as you send it over to us, which is really beneficial, but still allow you to send more pictures if you've had updates since the last time it was on MLS, or maybe it's never been on MLS and we can't see anything. We're just going off of what you typed in the last screen, which is the only place where you type. Everything else is very, pick here, A, B, C, granite, Formica. What do we got? What flooring do we have in these rooms, and where are these rooms at? So, yeah, that's how they're generated. And again, usually takes about up to 48 hours to get one back.
To get one of those. And then tell me a little bit about, Opendoor's not a non-profit company. They're in business to make money, and you're making money off of the people that you're purchasing the homes from. So tell me a little bit about the fee structure that Opendoor in Phoenix specifically, because that's kind of our market, assesses to the seller of a home.
Sure. So, it starts with the price. You have a headline price, and then below the price, you'll have a fee, and that is variable. Then below that, you'll see your portion of the closing costs. And then at the bottom in black bold, very easy to read, there's your net. And of course, things are going to change the net, like prorations and what day do you close and property taxes and things like that.
Sure.
But That's our best swipe at it right there, right out of the chute. So the fee is usually where we get the questions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how come I got an offer on my home in Gilbert and I got a fee of 6.5%, but my mom up in Surprise got a fee of 8%. Why? So the biggest indicator of that fee, or biggest driver, I'll say, of that fee is actually how long do we anticipate the days on market to be once we start to hold that house. Because holding costs are really the thing we want to avoid the most. It still costs us money to hold homes.
Sure.
So
you got to pay the utilities, you got to do the maintenance and the upkeep,
and the venture capital money. I mean, that's not free. So
yeah,
there's
there's that interest.
There's that interest. So we've got a lot of access to capital. We have the largest builder in the nation, has invested over $100 million into us, Lennar Homes. Plug for Lennar. And but even beyond that, that's a drop in the bucket. So far, we've amassed $1 billion in cash and another $3 billion in loan access. So $4 billion total access as of this recording of the podcast.
So all those realtors out there who think that Opendoor is just a fad and the iBuyer program is going to disappear, not so much.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the consumer is ultimately the one that votes. By utilizing us. And they said in the Phoenix market in 2018, over 4,000 times. That's how many homes we bought in the Phoenix market, was 4,000. So we are the largest entity that does transactions. Right now, we hold about 1,000 homes in inventory at this moment in Phoenix.
Wow.
Yes.
That's aggressive. Yeah.
It's a lot.
So to get kind of back to the fee structure, so there is no set fee. It's based on, it's situational.
Correct.
So
days on market, risk for how long we're going to hold it for. Things that drive that are how long has it taken for homes maybe of that square footage in that community to sell. Additionally, are we going to buy a home where there's already 10 homes listed right now and there's just already a ton of competition? So those are things that we're looking at when we're assessing what the fee is.
Okay. So then now I've seen a lot of Opendoor properties and I've had a lot of conversations with sellers, and I have yet to see an Opendoor offer that charges a seller less than what a realtor would charge, the standard 6%. It's typically higher. And then I've never also been in a situation where what I think I can sell a client's home for matches what Opendoor is purchasing it for. So basically where Opendoor is really making their funds is they tend to try and buy the home, I would guess, slightly below market value. And then they assess those carrying costs, whether, you had mentioned 6.5%, but I've seen it, 9, 10%, north of that in some cases as well, just depending on the environment. So it definitely, for the convenience sake of going with Opendoor, and it absolutely is convenient and a pleasant experience, but you are paying for it. You aren't getting something for nothing.
You're paying, right. You're paying ultimately how we portray our service, and you'll see it all over our videos and everything, is that we do give market value. Market value is a fun term. It's a really fun term because we're giving cash offers. So cash offers, we're going to take the risk in reselling that property. You get to take the cash and go, now we'll figure out if we can make money on it. So, and also us doing more volume by X factor of 2 at a minimum compared to our competitors says that we're giving the best offers. So really where our profit is derived from is that fee. That fee on a 9% fee, That 9% fee is saying to us, and should say to anybody who can see that 9% fee, that we're either going to make, because we're going to put every one of the homes on MLS and we're going to offer 3% to a buyer's agent. So 3% of the fee is already gone. It's out of here. On that one, there's 6% left. Since it's so high risk, we're either going to make 6% or we're going to lose.
Sure.
That one's going to have a big swing. But the one that we give an offer at 6% on, that one is probably going to be a solid 3%er.
Yeah.
So that again, it just comes to that risk with that fee.
I feel like the general public is really unaware of how narrow the profit margins are for real estate. You know, you think, oh, I'm paying my agent 6% and that's $20,000, but half of that is going, like you said, going to the agent that represents the person on the other side.
Right.
From a realtor standpoint, I'm paying for all the marketing of your home up front, coming out of pocket. So there's homes that we absolutely take losses on. While that's not the seller's fault, but that all has to be kind of baked in, which is probably why that 6% arbitrary number exists.
Right.
Is because that's what it takes to make any sort of money in this industry. Because the profit margins, whether you're an individual like me or, you know, a big company like Opendoor, are still razor thin.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Not a lot of room for error.
Definitely. And again, us doing the most volume, that's always been the indicator for me that we're giving the best offers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well, when you can scale, it spreads the risk. So when you
Exactly.
take a loss on 1 out of every 5, it doesn't really matter because you're profitable on the other 4.
right,
So
exactly.
it makes up for that loss of that 1.
So yeah, it just depends if that one was a $500,000 home or if it was a $200,000 home.
Right. I will say though that again, I've never come across a situation, and I try to be completely transparent and honest with my clients when we're going on listing appointments. And if I think, you know, Opendoor or one of the competitors, and often I'll bring 3 options of the major and present them and be like, here are 3 people, 3 companies that will buy your home immediately, and I can still represent you. A lot of people don't realize that a realtor can still represent you and look out for your best interests when you're selling to a company like Opendoor.
Definitely.
But I've never had an instance where I don't think I could get them more money.
Sure.
But it will take time.
Exactly.
And it will be more of a hassle.
Right.
And you'll have to have strangers walking through your house.
Right. You'll pay for it.
Yep.
Somehow you'll pay for it in your time, in frustration, in privacy. You'll pay for it. I tell a lot of people and I hate to use it such a general analogy, but you know, have you ever traded in a car before?
Mm-hmm.
I've traded in my car a few times. Why didn't I just put it on Craigslist? Why didn't I keep it? Why didn't I try to get more money for it? And how many times have most of us done this?
For sure.
You know, every 4 or 5 years maybe. So add all that up and figure that you understand that there is a value to convenience, privacy, all of these things, and market risk. I mean,
you're talking to a guy who spent $6 for an avocado once.
Oh, I've heard about the fabled avocado.
Yeah, $1 for the avocado and $5
Amazon.
for the delivery fee. So
there you go.
I get the
there you go.
You know, the cost of time.
I'm in Uptown. I forget where I'm at.
So I totally understand it. I had an interesting scenario, and I know I've brought this up to you before, but you know, I told a client that I thought I could sell their home for about $220,000. And Opendoor had made them an offer of $180,000, and at first they were going to go with us, but they had found a home that they wanted to purchase, and they wanted to be in before a certain date, and it was slightly above kind of what the market would allow, but because they were potentially selling their home to Opendoor and buying a home from Opendoor, for them it was all theoretical dollars, and it was exactly like trading in a car, where you just went from, you know, this house that's small, that your family's outgrown and you don't want anymore. You've probably already checked out and have no emotional attachment to it, and you're already emotionally invested in this one that you really want. And so they gave up, you know, that $40,000 plus probably I estimated another 10 on what they kind of paid for the Opendoor property, just because they could go from point A to point B with no issues. I think Opendoor even paid for them to move. Is that correct, or is that
Not us?
not
no.
you guys? Okay,
We give the higher offers. There's,
You give
there's
okay.
another one that does the
So
move.
they were able to move from point A to point B, and all that changed for them was their mortgage payment. I still think financially they would have come out way ahead had they gone the traditional route, but for them it just made sense to go and trade their house in for the next one.
Well, and it's case in point. Let's say that next home, and we do a lot of trade-ins for sure. We do a lot of the trade-ins. They're starting to become more popular.
Sure.
For obvious reasons, like you just mentioned.
Well, when you have 1,000 properties in inventory, that
we got some stuff to shop from.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
You've got choices.
Definitely. So, but even let's say that new home wasn't an Opendoor home. Let's say that next home was a traditional resale listing. Now they're a non-contingent buyer who's locked and loaded. So how strong can they come in to that property, and how much of a potential discount, depending on the property, could they get on it? So now value lost on the home that they're selling, they just regained maybe a fair amount of it in the purchasing power of the new home.
Maybe.
Sometimes, right?
Sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think every scenario is going to be different. I think my ultimate point is that buyers just need to beware. They need to do their due diligence. Sellers need to do their due diligence, and there's a lot of options out there, and I think Opendoor is a good one for sure, especially if I love the if you're purchasing new construction.
Yeah.
New construction is really tough when you're trying to do resale to move into that one, because most builders won't allow you to be a contingent offer for typically longer than 90. I've had a couple that have done 120 days.
Wow.
But usually you have to move out of your house,
right,
and find temporary housing while you wait for your new build to be done.
First and last payment, higher short-term rental rates, the places that you could find doing short-term rentals. I have a buddy of mine, he found a place, and he had to post pictures of him and his family on Craigslist begging for short-term rental down in the Southeast Valley. And he had, what did he have? He had 3. Ultimately, he got it down to 1 property. He went and looked at it. It looked like it was going to be fine for the short term. And then he went and visited it, smelled great, everything. They just had the carpets done, and that should have been his first clue, because once the new carpet cleaning smell went away, out came all of the animals that used to live in there right before him. And moving twice, especially if you got more than a few people in the household.
Right.
But new construction, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we partner with a fair amount of builders, some now nationally, that they understand this is the way of the future. Obviously, Lennar knows it's the way of the future if they're willing to put their money where their mouth is. And they get it. Like, we are the solution to the biggest objection of most of the prospects that are out there looking at these builders and looking at these new homes. Builder's got a property, it's been sitting, it's completed, like $300,000 just sitting there, costing them money every day, property taxes, utilities, upkeep, everything. They're cleaning this thing every week. And used to be, if you came in and you were doing some window shopping, or maybe you were interested in maybe just a new build, further out, you had time to sell the home. Now that person that comes in isn't tied to just doing a new build. They can go and grab that inventory home that is almost always reduced in price.
For sure.
And now comes the offset again of my perceived loss of value over here for the cash offer. Again, market value offers with a fee. So whatever that is, in fact, actually yesterday morning, had a builder call me up, a sales manager, national builder here, and is here in Phoenix, obviously. And they said, this is short notice. We want you to come to our sales meeting where we've got a bunch of inventory across the valley, over 100 homes. We need help. And we're like, yeah, we'll be there tomorrow morning in
Sure.
24 hours at that sales meeting. And, salespeople are pretty excited and how they can help out all of these customers. And there's not that barrier anymore of the uncertainty. We sell control, convenience, and certainty, the 3 C's. That's what we do.
It's great. I think it's a good model as long as the people know that they're paying for it. I have an example, and I know we kind of touched on this a little bit before, just some of the transparency that I would just argue from my standpoint, that I know that, you can't necessarily speak to all of it, but we had a client that was just toying with the idea, kind of went on Opendoor and then asked me my thoughts, and Opendoor had offered them 404. I think they could sell it for 415. And they had on here the average days on market to close. So Opendoor, they're quoting anywhere from 10 to 60 days, because you get to choose when you move out when Opendoor buys your home, which is awesome. Right. I mean, being able to choose your own date is great. They say the average time to close here is 50 days. That's a little bit extreme. I think it's more 30 days. If you're dealing with a VA financing, it might be 45, but typical closings tend to be 30. So I just had some problems with that. Again, going back to kind of the undervaluing of the property sum, not terrible. 404 versus 415, that's not that huge of a spread. But where I kind of got hung up is in their charge. They wanted to charge 9% for the sale. And they have in here that an agent would charge 6%. So they're very obvious in terms of the cost difference, which is about $10,000. But where they make it up, and I found it super interesting, and where I have probably the most issue with the offer that they submitted to our client, is that they just tell them that they're going to pay 2% in seller concessions. It doesn't say that it's a possibility that you could pay seller concessions. It's just in there. And then they're assessing them a 1% fee for home ownership, is what they call it. And they're factoring in your current mortgage payment and your costs for living in your home, which, yes, is a cost, absolutely.
Sure. But
my argument is you have to live somewhere, and you're going to be paying that 1% fee no matter where you live. You don't get to live somewhere for free. So based on their math, I think they were really stretching to get to that 9%, so that they can argue that if you go the traditional route, yes, you may sell it for more, but you're netting the exact same as if you'd go with Opendoor. So I feel like in this specific example, and I know that you didn't prepare it, it's a little wonky, and there was a little bit of lack of transparency on that. So I think the idea behind it is to just ask questions if you're a consumer, and know that, everybody's in business to make money. Opendoor is no different, and to make sure that you have all the facts. If somebody goes through this and they do have specific questions, can they contact Opendoor to review these things?
Oh yeah. Actually, when you, a few screens previous to this screenshot here, which is the offer, the first thing you see is your home advisor. So you are immediately in our system assigned a person.
Oh, good.
And so, yeah, we're huge on service. You're assigned a person. That's a home advisor. They're there to answer any questions during that 5-day period, as far as, how does this break down? What can I, how does this process work? We understand that this is still very, very new to real estate.
Yeah.
The fact that this is our biggest market and our CEO is from here just means that we've been doing this here bigger and longer than anybody else. So it's a great thing for Phoenix, and that's why it's taking hold so much in Phoenix. There's over 4,000 homes we purchased here. There's over 1,600 that we purchased in Vegas last year. So
there's definitely a demand for it. I'm not arguing that fact at all.
Sure.
I just think, again, it just comes back to, and this is maybe where, your realtor can add value.
Sure.
Is, show this and say, this is what Opendoor is telling me. I'm really attracted to it. Give me your honest opinion. And if your realtor is an honest person, which they should be, they'll. And I went through this exact same thing with our clients, and was like, these are the issues that I would point out and would have argument against.
Sure.
Again, you're paying for convenience. If you want to net more, you still need to go kind of the traditional route.
Right. Yeah, if you wait long enough, you'll eventually get the price for probably many things that you sell.
Sure.
You know, even
Yeah.
if you're in the ballpark,
Yeah.
if you're willing to wait, if you're willing to make that part of your life. You know, I'm selling my house.
Yeah.
This is part of my life. I'm going to squeeze every dollar I can out of the home. Then,
which a lot of people need because they're leveraging it into that next home, and they need every penny they can get.
Can't wait too long because that interest rate is not going to stay low, and they're going to go, oh wait, there's money over here.
Yeah.
There's a fun saying out there. It's what is it? Tripping over dollars to save pennies.
Yeah.
So that's a fun one of mine, but there's definitely, as you know, there's a big picture to all of it.
For sure.
You know, what does it look like today if I get into the next home? Well, it looks like this interest rate. It looks like, of the communities I'm looking at, possibly these HOAs. You know, that HOA hasn't gone up for 5 years. That one's gone up 10% every year for the last 5 years. You know, what are property taxes over there? So many parts to the financial puzzle. At the end of the day, I think anybody who has a real estate license is trying to make that person's life better and figure out what they value. Either I value selling my home and I like selling my home, or I value feeling that I got every dollar out of the home because I waited for maybe that one special buyer that was cool with purchasing a home that backed to a stoplight. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, nope, I'm going to wait for that buyer that doesn't care about that. I know when I sold for various builders, my nemesis was high voltage transmission power lines behind the property.
Yeah.
That was one that was really tough to sell. So I knew that home was going to be tough to probably resell.
Absolutely.
Because I'm having a hard time selling it now because I have to find that person that does not mind enough that is back there to actually purchase it. So we'll come in real handy with those properties too.
Absolutely. I've seen many homes where, you know, it fronts to a major street, and I've even gone in on consultations and been, you know, let's explore this option, because if we don't, you're going to have to, you know, I can't sell the home for what your neighbor sold for because they're in the center of a subdivision and you front or back to something weird like a major street or power lines or a shopping center.
Sure.
You know, so if you're looking for a quick sale and you need to get out and a guaranteed price, let's absolutely explore this option because it's a good one.
Definitely. It's an option.
Yeah,
it's exactly
absolutely.
what we are. Definitely.
So
an easy option.
Let's totally change gears in
Yeah.
the last few minutes that we have and talk about buying Opendoor properties. So I find it really fascinating. Opendoor properties are basically a 24-hour open house.
Close
We
to. Used to be. We figured out we probably shouldn't do that after doing it for a while. So 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. If you have the Opendoor app, you can go walk through as many as you want to. And obviously there's 1,000 of them in Phoenix. So, you know, walk through them to your heart's content. You'll see one that, you know, just popped up down the street from you. Maybe you're not even in the market right now. But it's amazing. But that's part of our success, is just driving a ton of traffic through our homes. And, you know,
you're removing barriers.
Exactly.
You know, so for a lot of buyers, you need to wait for your realtor's availability.
Right.
You know, I'm on a team of 6. We're all licensed, so we have our availability is pretty open.
Sure.
But you know, sometimes there's clients that want to see homes at a certain time, and we just can't make it work. Where, you know, the Opendoor process eliminates that. You just get the code and you can venture in on your own, which I think is really handy.
Definitely. We employed some talent from Airbnb, and that's where that proprietary system came from. It doesn't use cameras. It's really slick.
They don't use cameras
They
inside
don't use
anymore?
camera.
They used to.
Did they? No, they before my time, but no, it's all heat sensors now.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, so no more Big Brother.
So you are actually alone when you enter in the home.
Yeah.
I mean, we advise most of our buyer clients to just assume that you're on camera or somebody's recording you when you're walking through their home, because they've gotten so small and they're everywhere.
Yeah, you can still see them. They're
yeah.
just these little plastic things, and up in corners usually, but because the homes are all vacant, so there's really
I won't
nowhere to hide
even
'em.
talk to buyer clients inside a
In the
home,
home, sure.
to about offer strategies, because I just assume we're being listened to.
Yeah, it's day and age we live in, that's for sure.
Yeah, let's go outside and talk.
Yeah.
or cone of silence, from
There you go.
Get
Yep.
Smart or whatever.
It's privacy's tough these days, that's for sure. So that's our value is
But
don't
you
have
can
to worry
still-
about anybody popping in your house.
You can still have a realtor represent you on
Definitely.
the purchase.
Definitely.
The prices are negotiable, correct?
On the listing side, yes. They're all on MLS at 3%. So yeah, we don't do anything different, so to say, there.
I have had issues with getting Opendoor to pay closing costs for a buyer. Is that still kind of a touchy point for Opendoor?
Usually what happens with that is that and again, you're purchasing from a company. You're not purchasing from the traditional seller human who's excited they're in escrow, who's, there's a bottom line that's going to be associated with that home and how long we've held the home for. And, there's some magical formula that's way above my pay grade that's dictating all of that. So we have gotten that feedback. So just like when we give an offer on a home, we give our best offer up front because that's how we know we're going to actually convert.
Sure.
Same thing on that listing side, and we go for disposition and we go to actually sell the home. It's going to be, fairly hard line as far as that concerns, and that's not what the realtor community is kind of used to.
Sure.
As far as that part of the process goes, so it's a bit of a shock to go, oh, this is different.
And they still have to abide by kind of the anti-flipping rules that FHA dictates.
You'll see on our listings on the app, it'll say FHA eligible on X day.
Yep.
So it'll actually have it right in the app.
That's super helpful on that. And the flipping rule is basically you guys have to own, or Opendoor has to own the property for 90 days before they can accept FHA offers. Correct.
Right. Yeah. We're just like anybody else as far as that's concerned. No special treatment there.
So what are the types of properties that Opendoor is willing to purchase versus the ones that they won't?
Sure. So yeah, not every home qualifies. So that's a big thing to keep in mind because we have some folks, some offices that'll utilize us as a backup, which is fantastic if the listing's not going so great and, hey, maybe I'm not going to move. And it just kind of loses some steam as far as that goes, 60, 90 days on market and everything like that. So, we always say it's great to get an offer out of the chute for sure, just to see where things are at. And then you never know, that offer might be something that really makes you think, might be a low risk area for us where we go, hey, we've got appetite to resell that home. Our data says that this is a low risk, low fee, and then everything moves a little bit quicker. And now your, client isn't having to wait.
Sure.
They're armed and ready to go purchase non-contingent, which is the best way to purchase, outside of cash, I guess.
Yeah.
What we do. But no, to touch on that a little bit, the website will give a list that'll cover probably about 80%. It's not an exhaustive list of what we do and don't buy, but in general, some of the highlights are definitely going to be, minimum of $100,000, maximum of $500,000, and this is the Phoenix market.
Right.
Every market's
just
different.
Phoenix.
Right. Exactly. Anything that limits access, such as a guard gate, a gated community is fine, but an actual person guard gated, that we will not actually give an offer for that property. Also, too, if your property is still in a community where the builder you bought from is still selling from the model that you bought it from, we're not going to make an offer on those homes because the builder is setting the pricing and there's no organic resale comps in there.
Right.
So that's much, much too high risk because if that's a national builder and they need to make quarter numbers, then guess what's happening to prices? They're going down for that 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of that, we do so much of the Phoenix area. I mean, down to Florence. We don't do manufactured housing. In Phoenix, we do condo. We do duplex. We do townhome, single family detached. We don't do
No high-rise condos.
no high-rise condos for access reasons, of course.
No historic homes or homes built prior to 1960.
Before 60 would be our cutoff there as well. And that's going to capture a fair amount of them. Every now and then there'll be one that has unpermitted additions that we're a little scared of. Doesn't happen a lot. We'll usually take on a fair amount of those.
A lot of the unpermitted additions are on homes that were built probably prior to 1960.
Right.
I mean, we deal with them all the time.
Right.
There's some ways to get around that. The city of Phoenix has some some programs where you can grandfather in your additions, and I won't get into the weeds on that. But
Sure. It's really boring. Just kidding.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
But that's the general amount. So we've done in our existence now. I just found out it was ratcheted up from the last big number I was mentioning, but we have recently eclipsed 30,000 transactions as a company.
Wow.
So
That's impressive.
we're definitely getting this thing down. And again, the consumers they're voting.
They want simplification.
Yeah, they've
It's-
said that on every part of
clear.
their life, and we're gonna buy them more time.
Yeah. Which
and-
is becoming more and more valuable, and
Very
people
valuable.
are willing to pay for it. So
Definitely.
I get it. I think you guys are fulfilling a great service. And is there anything that we didn't talk about or touch on that you would want to get out into the
But
ether?
I would just say we're still new in general, even though we've been in Phoenix for a little while now, but we're still new. So there's a lot of sometimes anxiety with selling my home to the internet.
Mhm.
Is there people back there? Yeah, there's a big office in South Scottsdale, and
Super nice, by the way.
yeah, Danny's been
I've,
there.
I've
Yeah.
toured it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So there's people there. Right now, I think our company is something like 1,700 employees, just continuing to grow as we roll out new divisions. It's wild, but so it's a lot of that, and that's why we try to put. Or we do put with every offer, we put that, usually we have a picture of the actual person too, and their contact number and everything
Very nice.
like that.
Kind of
And,
humanizes it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All day long. And then also too, because you've been doing resale for a long time now. And so it's also kind of educating the realtor community on what we are, how we can help their client out, how to make the adaptive changes to cooperate and ultimately just help their client out.
Yeah.
So
People are scared to change, and
Yeah.
this in our environment is rapidly changing, and the age of realtors is definitely going down, but the average age right now is 54.
wow, is it really?
Yeah, and
My gosh.
54-year-olds aren't real excited when things change, and
Right, move my
especially
cheese.
especially with technology, and so people just automatically assume that Opendoor, OfferPad, Zillow, they're all existing to put
Who are
me-
the other two?
Yeah, to put us out of business, and I don't think that's the case. I just think it's another. I think you've said this before, but arrow in your quiver, right?
Definitely. And another thing too is that to really understand, it just hit me right now. Initially, when these companies started, the competitors that you've mentioned, there was no co-brokes. There was no, we're going to give you anything realtor for bringing us a property to acquire. That didn't last too long into where then there was starting to be some broker cooperation. So that should say what the power still is of that realtor community that exists today. It's needed.
Yeah. I mean,
There's a place.
Absolutely, there is definitely a place. I think realtors definitely provide a lot of value and coaching, and this isn't as easy as just buying a stock online. It's a very, very complicated process, whether you're going through Opendoor or doing, the traditional route. I think you should always have some sort of representation to guide you down that path to make sure that you're protected, fully represented, and know your options.
Sure.
And, making sure that you work with someone who knows what options even exist out there for you.
Also, too, we have a group within our company. I sit right next to them, and they're the realtor group. And so whenever there's a transaction that has a realtor on it, acquisition of ours, that will go to that team for the whole escrow. So they speak realtor.
Perfect.
So, because that's what they come from. So we've identified that to the effect that there's a department in our company just for that.
Very cool. Well, I wanted to try something new and that we're rolling out for 2019. So you're going to be kind of my guinea pig. And normally people get these questions ahead of time. So hopefully I'm not going to put you on the spot. But these are Phoenix-based questions. I know you've lived here for a long time.
Sure.
So I'd like to know, one, what's your favorite Phoenix restaurant?
Favorite Phoenix restaurant. Okay, I'm going to cheat a little bit here because it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh.
Yes. So my late grandfather, I was very close to him, used to be the general manager of the Bob's Big Boy in Chandler, Arizona, which has now been leveled and is an auto zone.
Oh, that's too bad.
That is too bad.
Are there any exciting places that you've discovered lately in Phoenix?
In Phoenix. Oh boy.
Well, and in the valley.
In the valley. I'm an East Side boy. I've lived in the East Side my whole life.
That's good. A lot of our audience is from the Southeast Valley.
Yes. So I have to give a shout out to downtown Gilbert because I live pretty close to there.
Downtown Gilbert's awesome.
And so it was the White Rabbit, which is a speakeasy in downtown Gilbert.
Yep. Very familiar.
Go there. You been there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Awesome
I went there
spot.
for my last birthday. It was a good time.
What is your favorite neighborhood in the valley?
Oh boy. I'm going to be cheesy on this one. I'm going to say my favorite neighborhood. See, and I'm not even versed well on the downtown ones, which is horrible because my dad grew up in a home basically on 7th Avenue, just north of the Deck Park Tunnel.
Okay.
That was built in 1924.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be Phoenix. It can be the whole valley.
Right. But I like the houses over there. Last time we drove through there and everything like that.
You thinking like Willow?
Yeah, whatever that one
Canto, Palmcroft.
Whatever that one would. I like the ones that have the whimsical
the Tudor
roofs.
Houses. Yeah.
Like that actually like bend.
Uh-huh. Okay. So we'll put you down for the Willow Historic District.
Willow it is.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic.
Favorite hangout spot?
Favorite hangout spot? Again, downtown Gilbert, of course.
Yeah.
And I would say Joe's Barbecue. That's
Joe's
a place.
Barbecue's a good one. It's a staple in downtown Gilbert.
It was
been there for
one
a
of
long
the
time.
first ones.
Okay, and then finally, the best site to see in all of Arizona.
All of Arizona, I mean, it has to be the Grand Canyon. That place is a wonder of the world, and I got to go back to it every so many years and get out of the heat.
Yeah, right. we hiked the Grand Canyon, and I've been to the Grand Canyon a bunch, and you look at it and you're like, wow, this is majestic, and then you kind of get out of there. But hiking it, you really get to appreciate the scale of this giant hole in the ground.
That's what it is, right? It's a beautiful hole in the ground.
Epic. Yeah. You really can't appreciate it until you
Was that the rim to
days.
rim? Is that what you did?
Well, we hiked down to Phantom Ranch and then went.
Oh, very cool.
We hiked for 3 days and it was exhausting. And I'll tell you what, they have deer down there that don't give a shit about you. They have no predator. There's nothing that
just come after you, huh?
Well, no, they just I had to get out of my tent to go.
They don't care that
and
you're there.
There was all this ruckus, and I was actually a little scared. Like, what the heck is going on? And I get out of my tent, and I got a headlamp on because, of course, there's no lights down there.
Sure.
And there's this deer just eating grass right in front of my tent, and I had to get out past it because it wasn't moving. It didn't care about me at all. It was not afraid. It was just going to sit there and eat grass. And
you're not moving that nature, buddy.
No fear.
No fear.
So
does not care.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, thanks. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been awesome to talk to you, get a little bit more educated on Opendoor, and hopefully our audience got a lot out of it. If they have any questions or want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Give me a call. I'm at 520-333-6911. That's directly goes right to my cell phone. Won't bore you with the email address because it'll probably get misspelled. So that phone number and text works too.
And then opendoor.com for anybody that wants to see what Opendoor would offer them for a property. But call me first because I can still represent you.
Yeah. He knows people at Opendoor.
I know. I do. So, well, thanks for tuning in to another edition of Danny Brown Talks Phoenix, and we will see you next time.